Hare Krishna. Today we'll be visiting different places of Antardwip. We'll begin our Parikrama today by visiting Srivas angan, then Murari Gupta Prabhu's house, and then we'll end today's Parikrama by visiting the house of Chandra Acharya, where we'll be visiting the Samadhi Mandir of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Radha Kund, Syam Kund, Giri Govardhan, and the Bhajan Kutir of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Let's begin. Hare Krishna.
Bolo, bolo, bolo. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Right now we are at Srivas Angan. This place is non-different from Rasa Sthali in Vrindavan Dham, where Krishna performed his Rasa dance with the gopis of Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would perform all-night kirtan with his intimate associates in this very place that we are residing right now. Lord Nityananda Prabhu's mercy is beautifully exhibited in the life of Jiva Goswami here. The first historical Navadwip Mandala Parikrama was taken out by Nityananda Prabhu himself. Srivas Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Baninath Prabhu and others partook in this first Parikrama. When Nityananda Prabhu brought Jiva Goswami to this place, as soon as Jiva Goswami entered Srivas Angan, thinking about the beautiful pastime that took place in this very place, Jiva Goswami fell unconscious on the ground. When Jiva Goswami came back to consciousness, he actually saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with all his associates chanting and dancing in ecstatic love of Godhead. This is the first time Jiva Goswami is actually seeing the Sankirtan Leela in Navadwip Dham in this very place. Seeing this most amazing Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan Leela in Srivas Angan, again Jiva Goswami fell unconscious. When he came back to consciousness again, he could not see the pastime again. Nityananda Prabhu embraced him, showered him with mercy. This is the place of Kirtan. Mahaprabhu would come very often, even during the daytime, and perform many pastimes, what to speak of all night long kirtan and so many other amazing pastimes.
Krishna Pradaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Edinamene, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Oravani Vacharene, Nidisai Sasanavadi, Achata Dasatarene. Today, we're visiting Srivas Angan. the house of Srivas Thakur. Lord Chaitanya would refer to this house sometimes as an ashram and sometimes as a temple, because Grihastha lives in an ashram according to the varnashram system. Chandra Varna and Chandra Ashram. So Grihastha ashram is one. But in his house, he had a temple of Krishna. And also, he would refer to his house as a temple. And Lord Chaitanya went to Srivas. He asked him, I have a question. I asked a question, and Srivas said, yes, why not? What's your question? Whether I have a disease. People are saying I have a disease. Srivas Thakur, he said, what are the symptoms of your disease? He said, whenever I chant Hare Krishna, I cry, my hair is standing on end, sometimes I have perspiring in my body, sometimes my voice chokes up, sometimes I faint. People say that I have a disease. What do you think? And Srivas Thakur said, yes, you have a disease. And I also want that disease. So you have the disease of love for Krishna. So in this house, this ashram, Srivas Thakur had recommended that people in general will not understand your ecstasies. So if you come and chant here, my Lord, my angan, and I will only invite advanced Vaishnavas who can understand your sentiments, your emotions. So that started the nocturnal kirtan at Srivas' house, courtyard. And Lord Chaitanya would come there and chant. The door was locked, and people would wait outside the door, and they were not allowed in. Then someone came and was listening to these endless people. I said, do you hear? What are they chanting? What are they singing? Haribo, Haribo! Are they drinking wine and enjoying with prostitutes? It does not sound like the chanting Hare Krishna. Ah, are you one of them? Those people are simply envious. And person walk away. So, like this, those are outside, not allowed in. So, when Brahman was there, Gopal, he was worshipping the tantric worship, kind of black magic. So he put goat blood over the door of Srivas and a big bamboo plate with a goat's head intestines and things. And then he left. When Srivas opened the door, he saw this light on intestines and goat head and things. And then he saw the blood right over his door. He calls the local brown sea. I didn't worship Chandra all night. See, everyone else knew that he was a pure Vaishnava. He didn't worship Devi or anything. So, who did this? Chi. And they had someone come in his door, take away the intestines and heavy, bloody-headed things. For 3 days, Gopal, who did this mischief, he got leprosy. And his nose, hands, all affected. In those days, the person who had leprosy, he had to stay outside the city because leprosy is contagious. So he was staying by the Ganges. And one day, Lord Chaitanya came by. So he asked Lord Chaitanya, your Matit Bhagavan, please forgive me for my offense. And Lord Chaitanya said, I will not forgive you. You have offended Srivas. He has to forgive you, otherwise you'll burn in hell. No one ever heard Lord Chaitanya say such a heavy thing. And then two devotees went and Srivas told them what Lord Chaitanya said. They asked Srivas, please forgive Gopal. Srivas was very humble. He said, I cannot forgive Gopal. Oh, I'm not. Pleasure can be offended. I'm very honored. So like that. Then the devotee said, listen, you may not think you're a devotee, but Lord Chaitanya does. And he will not deliver this person unless you forgive him. You want to be the cause of him suffering? No, I don't want to cause anyone suffering. So then Srivas went and forgave Gopal. At that time, Lord Chaitanya appeared, he embraced Srivas, he embraced Gopal, and everybody was elevated to the transcendental position. And many pastimes would happen in Srivas' angan. The daily kirtan was going on, and the people, they heard about Lord Chaitanya's kirtan. They wanted to attend, but they could not attend unless they were invited. Once, Srivas' grandmother was hiding there, and Lord Chaitanya stopped the kirtan and said, I'm not feeling ecstasy. Who is responsible? And he was responsible. But Srivas, he remembered that his mother-in-law was there. So he picked up the basket, pulled out his mother-in-law, and said, you're disturbing Lord Chaitanya's ecstasy, you'll leave immediately. And grabbing her by the neck, he pushed her out of the door. And Lord Chaitanya said, who is that? She said, I don't know. Who was that? is like a mother-in-law. Anyone who disturbs you, I don't know them. Srivas, that's the way to deal with your mother-in-law. You grab her by the neck and throw out the doorway. So Srivas, he didn't start anyone who didn't deal properly with Lord Chaitanya.
here the very home of Murari Gupta Prabhu, who is none other than Hanuman in Lord Ramachandra's pastime. He appeared as Murari Gupta Prabhu, an intimate associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu would come here very, very often and perform such intimate pastimes with Murari Gupta Prabhu. Simply by hearing those pastimes, it enhances our devotional life and uplifts our consciousness. So we're very, very fortunate to be here in the house of Murari Gupta Prabhu. And here you can see the beautiful temple of Murari Gupta Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I'll just tell you one pastime. One day Murari Gupta Prabhu contemplated that Mahaprabhu, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is fully independent. Whenever he wants, he will disappear from this world. If he does that, this is something that I cannot tolerate. I'll be totally destroyed. I will not be able to handle the situation where Mahaprabhu is no more with us physically. So he made a plan. He thought it will be a great fortune for me that I leave my body while the Lord is still there performing His beautiful pastime. Let me just see this beautiful pastime, think of Him. Remembering Him, let me leave my body. So he decided to commit suicide. He got a huge knife and he thought that with this knife I will end my life. He got the knife and he hid the knife in his home here. Mahaprabhu, the Super Soul, understanding the desire of Murari Gupta Prabhu, Mahaprabhu actually came running to this place. And when Mahaprabhu suddenly appeared in front of Murari Gupta Prabhu was very surprised but extremely happy. Mahaprabhu did not say anything, he just came and sat, and both of them began to discuss about Krishna's pastimes. After discussing about Krishna for some time, then Mahaprabhu asked something in Murari Gupta Prabhu's ear. He says, Murari, can I ask you something? Murari Gupta Prabhu says, of course, my Lord, you're the Supreme Lord, I'm your servant, anything, tell me. He says, you'll tell me the truth, right? He says, of course, everything belongs to you, my Lord. Why would I lie? He said, get me that knife. Murari Gupta Prabhu was surprised, he was shocked. He said, what knife? I don't have any knife. Then Mahaprabhu began to tell him. He said, how could you even think of ending your life? You're my intimate associate. If you leave this world before me, with whom will I perform my pastimes? And Murari Gupta Prabhu said, "My Lord, I don't know what you're talking about." Of course, he couldn't look at Mahaprabhu's face. He was hanging his head because Mahaprabhu was telling the truth. He said, "I don't have any knife. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who is spreading these rumors." Mahaprabhu said, "I know exactly who made the knife for you. I even know exactly where you kept the knife." Mahaprabhu just walked into the home of inner chamber of Murari Gupta Prabhu's house, took the knife out and saw it in front of Murari Gupta Prabhu. Said, "What is this?" Mahaprabhu began to cry, thinking that his intimate associate is thinking of ending his life even while I'm still here. Mahaprabhu began to tell Murari Gupta Prabhu, actually begged Murari Gupta Prabhu to never ever think of ending his life. He said, "You should never ever think of ending your life. You have offered yourself to me. Your body belongs to me. How could you even think of ending your life? Never ever think of ending your life." This is a very important instruction to all of us, that we may go through so many hardships, so many impediments, so many difficulties in our life. But through Murari Gupta Prabhu, through Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu taught us to never ever ever think of ending our life, to commit suicide. Mahaprabhu began to cry, and Murari Gupta Prabhu could not control himself, saying how much Mahaprabhu loved him. Mahaprabhu actually picked up Murari Gupta Prabhu and kept him on his lap, and both of them began to cry. So this beautiful pastime took place in this very home of Murari Gupta Prabhu. There are so many other pastimes, but I thought this is a very important lesson for all of us, never to give up. No matter what we have to tolerate, we have to continue with our service. The rest, leave it to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So right now, we're in Prithu Kund. For the benefit of mankind, Prithu Maharaj decided to level the earth planet. So when they came here and they were leveling this particular place, there was a great effulgence that was coming out of this place. So Prithu Maharaj was informed about this incident. And Prithu Maharaj personally came to this place to inspect, to see what's going on. Because Prithu Maharaj was Satyavas avatar, he meditated and he saw that in this very place, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will appear as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To serve Mahaprabhu and to serve his associates, Prithu Maharaj built a huge kunda or a huge pond, and therefore it is called Prithu Kunda. Krishna explains to Arjuna that even the lowest of man, if he comes to Navadwip Dham and takes some water from this kunda and drinks it, or bathes in Prithu Kunda, he will be relieved of all his sinful activities and he will be able to go back home, back to Godhead. So here you can see there is still some water is here, and you can see how big the pond is even today, what to speak of in Satya Yuga. So this is Prithu Kunda. So Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that anyone who takes bath in Prithu Kund will be relieved of all their sinful activities and going back home, back to Godhead. Here the Dhambasi buffalo is definitely taking the full advantage of it. Here you can see, Hari Bol, joy, all glories to the Dhambasis. Hare Krishna. Sucharu Bhaktamandalam Sukarnaratna Kundalam Sucharchitanga Chandanam Namami Nandanam Danam Pankajam Sikhi Sikhandamurdhajam Anantakoti Mohanam Namami Nandanam Danam. So we are in Chaitanya Math, which is considered the headquarters of all the Gaudiya Maths. This was the headquarters of the 64 Gaudiya Maths that was established by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This place is known as Brajapattam. Brajapattam means where Vrindavan is manifested. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally performed the first drama here, manifesting the Vrindavan pastime. Later on, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur manifested different elements of Vrindavan Dham, such as Govardhan, Radhakund, and Syamkund here. And therefore, this place is called Brajapattam, or where Vrindavan is manifested. This very house, called Bhakti Vijay Bhavan, this was the very house of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is where he resided. And this beautiful temple, this is the Purna Samadhi or full Samadhi of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We'll be going there and paying our respects. Hare Krishna, now we are about to enter the temple of Chaitanya Math. This is one of the first deities that was personally installed by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This dome is very unique. It has 29 domes, has the deity of the four acharyas, prominent acharyas of the four sampradaya. So let us go in the temple and take darshan of the very beautiful deities here. line is called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and this is the deity of Madhvacharya. This is Vishnu Swami. And finally Sripad Ramanujacharya. On the foothold of Govardhan, Bhakta Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had his bhajan kutir here, where he chanted 1 billion names, which took many, many years to complete. In order to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, he sat here for many years and chanted 1 billion names to prepare the field for preaching. He established 64 Gaudiya Maths in India, also in Bangladesh. Of course, Prabhupada took the message of Mahaprabhu and spread all over the world. So we offer our most respectful obeisances, lotus feet of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki! Hare Krishna. Let us pay our respects to him. As we said before, this is Brajapattam. This is where Mahaprabhu and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur manifested Sri Vrindavan Dham. So in the month of Kartik, by sprinkling the water of Radhakund, by doing Govardhan Parikrama here, you get the same benefit of doing Govardhan Parikrama in Vrindavan. The only difference is that Parikrama takes many, many hours. But this is Mahaprabhu's Dham, most magnanimous. So you can do the whole Parikrama in 5-7 minutes and get the benefit of doing the Parikrama for hours in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. This place is known different from Vrindavan. Vrindavan is known for Tamal trees, because this tree reminded Srimati Radharani of Krishna. The color of this tree reminds Srimati Radharani of Krishna. So it's so amazing to see Tamal tree here. So we can come and get mercy of these inhabitants of Vrindavan Dham. You can come and pay obeisances. You can hug, get the blessings. Hari Bol.
Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare.
This is a very special type of Kadamba trees. Mayapur Kadamba trees are different. Vrindavan Kadamba trees are different. So this Kadamba tree resembles Vrindavan Kadamba tree. Please come. We'll do 7 times Parikrama of Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki.
Gora, 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 Hari. Gora, Gora.